Hey guys, welcome back to Bombchu. I'm Austin and today I'll be looking at the Humble Monthly Bundle from July 2018. The fireworks from July 4th have come and gone, the Steam summer sale has ended, bringing relief to wallets all over the world, and now we have our monthly bundle to dig into. Can it match the excitement? Let's take a look. This month's Humble Original is Stumblehill, a platformer about a penguin. This isn't a plain old platformer though, it's got a bit of a spin to it. You can rotate. This is mostly useful for spinning in the air to break rocks, and mostly infuriating in all other cases. You have a button to rotate, but you'll find yourself getting spun around, whether you're pressing it or not. Push against anything while airborne, and lose control of your body. Walk on anything other than flat ground, fall over and slowly stand back up. Every time. I love platformers, but this cute and colorful little game had me frustrated and annoyed in less than 10 minutes. I can't recommend it. Forts is a 2D physics-based RTS game. You and your opponent build up bases, oddly very close to each other. Building has a World of Goo feel to it, with some streamlining. Building too high without proper support underneath leaves things wobbly. You have a reactor, which you must protect at all costs. But it's not just your ultimate vulnerability, it also generates resources for you. If you find yourself using resources faster than it generates, it's time to build some mines and turbines. Mines can just go over any ground with metal in it, but turbines need wind, so the higher up they are, the better. You will, of course, need to defend yourself and make progress at chipping into your opponent's base, so station some weaponry in strategic places and start aiming for weak points. This one was pretty fun. It mixes in elements from several great games to create something unique. Forts gets a thumbs up from me. Titan Quest Anniversary Edition is an isometric action RPG. You move and attack with the mouse, you get loot which you have to manage in a grid-based inventory, you level up and get new skills for your class. Yep, it's Diablo. Of course, it has a different setting, and rather than having a class, you pick a mastery, little things like that. But seriously, if you swapped out the textures, I would be fooled into thinking I was playing Diablo. The layout, the gameplay, the special harder blue enemies, shrines, it's all here. Now, the original version came out in 2006, 5 years after Diablo 2, and 6 years before Diablo 3. Back then, there weren't a ton of games in that genre, so it did fill a gap in the market. These days, it's not quite as special, but as far as Diablo clones go, this one does a great job with it, right down to the smaller details. If you crave more Diablo in your life, Titan Quest is worth trying out. The next 3 games we'll be looking at I covered at the end of last month's review. If you've already seen my look at Hearts of Iron 4, Blackwake, and Portal Knights, you may want to skip ahead. I have timestamps for each game in the bundle in the description down below. Hearts of Iron 4 is a World War II grand strategy game. You have to build up your country, your military, research new technology, and manage your factories, all while taking other territories and trying to hold on to your own. It's not my genre, but I have to admit, it is satisfying to watch my soldiers slowly take provinces in Ethiopia. You have very granular control over everything, which can make the UI pretty intimidating at times. And while you're working, all the other countries are also doing their own thing, so you have a lot to keep your eye on. When you take over a country, you're not done. You get to make demands during the peace talks. The more demands you make, the higher the world tension goes, and if it goes too high, a world war starts. There's a lot of complexity here, and it's not for me, but if you like other grand strategy games like Crusader Kings, you'll likely have a great time here. Blackwake is an early access first-person pirate game. Think Sea of Thieves with a much bigger emphasis on combat. You join a server, join a crew, and form alliances with other ships to take down other alliances. You'll be loading cannons, patching holes, putting out fires, and boarding ships for man-to-man combat. Crews can be much bigger. I was in a 13-man crew, but this also makes things very hectic and a bit difficult to contribute, especially first starting out. Eventually I was loading up cannons and boarding ships like the rest of them. Telling friends and foes apart is difficult though, and a lot of the other newbies were accidentally team killing. It's decent fun, though it could use some polish in the controls as well as performance. But hey, that's what early access is for, right? The servers seem pretty active, and there's enough players who know what they're doing to help you figure things out. I think I'll stick to Sea of Thieves, but I may check this out again when it leaves early access. Portal Knights is a fantasy sandbox RPG with Minecraft-style building and destruction. Make your character, pick a class, choose a world, and hop in. As you spawn in, some simple tasks pop up in your quests, easing you in with a simple and unobtrusive tutorial. This will introduce you to movement, combat, destruction, building, and crafting. Your ultimate goal is to move to the next area, which you can only do by crafting portal stones and building a portal. Each area has new materials which you can use to craft new equipment, which you'll need to fight the harder enemies. Each piece feeds into another quite nicely and keeps you wanting to do the next thing. Combat is pretty simple: lock on, click to attack, press shift to dodge. It sports online co-op, which I definitely need to try out with my wife. The visuals have a colorful, cartoony style, and everything runs buttery smooth. I'm not sure how long it will hold my attention, but I'll definitely be continuing. Shyness: The Lightning Kingdom is an action RPG with combat styled off of arena fighters. Environments are lush and colorful, main characters have fun, expressive designs, and combat is interesting enough that I found myself wishing that there were even more enemies around. Combat is triggered whenever you're detected by an enemy, creating a bubble around you to serve as your arena. No loading time, you fight right there on the field and get right into the action. Nice. You can punch and kick for your physical attacks, guard to take less damage, dodge to avoid attacks, and parry to reflect projectiles or stop melee attacks and open your opponent up for some damage. You also have elemental magic you can use. You have energy for each type of element, and to charge that energy back up, you'll have to hold down a button during combat to focus yourself, opening you up to attacks. The type of energy you regenerate is determined by the current color of the arena, so you'll have to wait for it to change to the type of energy that you want. It's a fun system, and an odd mashup of genres that I didn't expect to work. The story so far is kinda whatever, but I'm also still pretty early on. This one will be keeping me busy till the August bundle. Interplanetary is a multiplayer turn-based strategy game. Each player controls a planet, and your goal is to destroy each of the cities on your opponent's planets. Each turn, your energy is completely refilled, dictating how much you can do in one turn. You can build weapons to attack your enemies, but you'll also be building defenses, researching new technologies, and giving cities initiatives to work on to improve their stats. Now here's where it gets interesting. When you're ready to attack, you'll have to manually aim your weapons to try and hit the other planets hurtling through space. Everything is frozen in time while you're aiming, but when the turn resolves and you fire your shot, your planet is moving, your target is moving, and gravity from every planet and the sun will all curve your shot. It takes a little practice to get right, but once you start landing shots, it feels good. Based on the Steam reviews, it sounds like pretty much your only option for multiplayer is playing with friends, and if I can convince a friend or two to pick it up, this could make for a fun evening. Serial Cleaner is a stealth game where you play as a cleaner for the mob. You have to get rid of dead bodies, clean up blood, and remove evidence, all without getting caught by the cops investigating the scene. You have a button to zoom out and show you everything you need to see, which is great because the placements are random each time to keep you on your toes. Police vision is shown in an orange cone. Enter their vision and the chase is on. You'll have to lose them around a corner or find a hiding spot, or it's back to the start of the level. Luckily, police are baffled by hiding spots, so if you enter one, even right in front of them, they'll eventually leave you alone. This one is fun, and it's got a lot of style and some groovy music. I'll be continuing this one for sure. So overall, how is this bundle? Outside of Stumblehill, I don't feel there were really any stinkers here. There was a solid variety in the genres on display, and I got some games I really enjoyed that I hadn't even heard of before. All of that sounds good, but something still feels significantly lacking here. Where's the headliner? One of the great things about the monthly bundle is that it comes with a mixture of indie and AAA games, even if sometimes those AAA titles are older. Looking through the games when they were revealed, nothing got me really jazzed up for the month, and I'm sure many others felt the same way. Let's look at the total value. Buying all these games at their lowest sale price would cost about $77, while getting them all at full price would be about $195. I'd say this month's bundle was disappointing at first glance. There are some good games in here, But Humble needed to put a heavy hitter in there. It looks like they're making up for it in next month's bundle because it's coming with A Hat in Time, The Escapists 2, and Conan Exiles. Let's take a sneak peek. A Hat in Time is a collect-a-thon platformer inspired by the likes of Super Mario 64 and Banjo-Kazooie, and it f***ing rocks. Similar to Yooka-Laylee, this game started out on Kickstarter and looked to fill some similar shoes. Unlike Yooka-Laylee, this game completely stuck the landing, with an adorable world and characters, tight controls, and lots of fun variety in levels and missions. Your job is to track down your missing timepieces to power your ship back up. Along the way, you'll collect yarn and gems to make hats and badges, giving you new powers and augments. The platforming feels so damn good, and the levels are designed to show it off. You'll be doing everything from jumping your way to the end of a level, solving a murder on a train, or enjoying a parade in your honor. It's also still getting more content. More levels and co-op are being added in the future as free DLC, and it's got great mod support. This is a user-recreated version of Bob on Battlefield. If you have ever enjoyed a 3D platformer, absolutely go play this. It's such a joy. The Escapists 2 is a 2D prison escape game, but this time around, it's got multiplayer. When playing solo, things feel pretty familiar if you played the first game. There's been a significant visual upgrade and some of the controls have been streamlined, but the mechanics feel pretty similar, just with new prisons to tackle. If you want to know more, I've got a link in the description to my look at the first game back from the December 2016 bundle. Multiplayer seems to be the major change from the original, and unfortunately, none of my friends have this game. I tried to play with strangers, but couldn't find a match. Going off the store page, you play with up to 3 other people, and either work as a team, or play competitively and race to escape first. I'll see if I can convince a buddy to get this one this month, and I'll update in the next review if I can. Conan Exiles is an open-world survival game set in the lore of Conan the Barbarian. My list of beefs with most open-world survival games include dealing with PvP with players who are already decked out, feeling like I'm always losing progress, wandering around aimlessly, and never finding most of what I need to keep my character fed, hydrated, and sheltered. Thankfully, you can choose to play online or offline, and when playing online, you can go PvP, PvE, or PvE conflict, where there are only certain times where you fight other players. I chose PvE conflict so I could try out fighting other players without having to worry about being griefed all the time. I created my character and whoops, that option just removes clothes. Let's just keep those on so I don't get demonetized. Boob slider? All the way up, of course, and crap, I did not realize how big that really was until now. I wake up in the desert and am instructed to find food, water, and a bed. I find a little pouch of water near where I started, and I found some of what I needed to make a bed, but for the life of me, I can't find the final ingredient or any food. I wander through for half an hour looking for anything, running into no players, enemies, or new materials. Finally, I find a small monster, and oh boy, that combat. Hitboxes are for losers, and response time is for weaklings, it seems. I discover I can cheese the combat by just kicking, assuming I can get my kick to land, and I loot my kill for nothing. It had no items. Another one notices me and chases me forever till I finally find a tent, and it kills me, making me drop all of my stuff and taking me back to the starting point. You can turn on easy mode to keep from dropping your stuff on death, but even with that, survival games are just not my thing. Reviews on Steam are mixed, with a lot of the negative reviews coming from people who say that they really love the game. Common complaints mention game-breaking bugs, a horrible decay timer for buildings, NPCs you train for your base doing nothing to defend themselves or the base, and the list goes on. My wife is hooked on this game, but your mileage may vary. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next month.